Toronto Maple Leafs are making moves as they have decided what they're going to do with Matt Benning. We're going to break down that move as well as discuss a brand new Auston Matthews update. We have multiple updates surrounding the Toronto Maple Leafs as well as an update surrounding Calle Jarnkrok. So there's a ton of things to go over today as Berube spoke out on a few different things as well. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we get into it, quick reminder, hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying the daily Leafs content and you're a part of the 70% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be. And this is our second video of the day because Darius, well, we uploaded our video earlier and a ton more news has dropped. And whether it's Auston Matthews, Calle Jarnkrok, Matt Benning now, there's a lot of things going down. So we had to get another upload for you all. Let's start with Matt Benning. So Maple Leafs have officially placed Matt Benning on waivers. Benning was acquired in the Lilligren trade with San Jose a few weeks ago. So, Darius, they decided to put Matt Benning on waivers. And again, if you checked out our video earlier, he was most notably known for being on the wing in today's practice, which was kind of hilarious. They put him on the wing and then put him on waivers. But of course, the defensive Matt Benning, he's out now. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets claimed. It's obviously yet to see. We're going to keep you up to date with that. But Darius, what are your thoughts? On this Matt Benning being placed on waivers move the Toronto Maple Leafs made? They clearly value Philip Myers, and I'm a little bit surprised by this.
Yeah, I guess the Leafs coaching staff and management didn't like his offensive game on second line right wing this morning as he was practicing there this morning. No, but you know what? I think you could see this coming. I wouldn't have been surprised if he got into a game, but clearly he was not going to play with this team. It was reported at some point last week too that it looked like he was going to get flipped. He already got, they traded for him, or not for him. I guess they traded away Lilligren to get assets. But he became a Leaf already 2 weeks ago at this point. He hasn't played. There's been no mention of him probably getting into a game or anything like that. So we knew it was either going to be a flip or maybe a roster move, and it was looking like him or Philippe Meyer. But obviously they hold Philippe Meyer in high regard. They don't want to send this guy down to the Marlies or put him on waivers just in case he gets claimed. And obviously Matthews is on IR right now, and we'll get to him in a second. And now Max Pacioretty is also on IR, so it does free up some space, but Matthews is going to come back. You still need to open up another roster spot to get Hakanpää and Dewar back into the lineup. And of course, when Pacioretty comes back, you're going to need to open up another one at that point in time anyway. So this makes sense to me. Matt Benning is obviously going to be sent down to the Marlies or be claimed by somebody tomorrow. We'll see. We'll get some news around midday tomorrow, but I'm not too surprised by this move. Somebody had to go, and he's a guy who hasn't played for the organization.
Yeah, when they made that trade with San Jose, I was kind of suspecting that they were going to keep him for a little bit, maybe because he is a serviceable defenseman. But at the end of the day, they clearly prioritize Philip Myers more. So we're going to keep you up to date with what happens with him because if he clears, this obviously becomes a free agent then. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Matt Benning going forward with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Darius, here's the big news of the day, and it's that Auston Matthews is actually doubtful for tomorrow's game. We just want to make sure we get ahead of it and hopefully get it behind us once and for all. And Berube says the upper body injury is connected to what Matthews dealt with in training camp, which is not ideal. But both of us thought that, hey, the Toronto Maple Leafs, Auston Matthews, I said it in my video earlier, in our video earlier today, that all signs are pointing to Auston Matthews returning tomorrow. Not going to be the case, I don't think, at this point. Again, they play a doubleheader, and that's probably why he wasn't skating today. So I guess now the projected return date for him is on the second half of a back-to-back on Wednesday. So it's interesting. He's doubtful, and this one is also a little bit surprising to me. I thought he was going to, amp up and play tomorrow, but this one's honestly probably more surprising than the Matt Benning waiver.
Yeah, and last week I was saying until this guy is 100%, there's no need for him to play. And again, they're playing Ottawa tomorrow, not the best team, right? They should be able to win without him. They played better teams without him and beaten them without Auston Matthews in the lineup the last week. So I'm not overly concerned with this. I think just get him to 100%. Obviously, it's something that's been nagging him all season because it's the same thing that kept him out of training camp and a preseason game, if you remember back over a month ago. So make sure, he's feeling good. Make sure he's 100%, get him back in the lineup. And I'm sure they're going to take it day by day at this point because it was anyway. I thought he was going to get into the lineup tomorrow, but clearly not good enough to go. But I don't think there's too much, cause for concern with this one. I'm sure he's going to be back in a couple of days' time, whenever that is. But yeah, make sure this guy's 100%. A lot of fans were speculating maybe that's why he wasn't, off to a great start so far this season, even though, he has a couple of goals already. He's playing, I think, fine. And away from the puck, he's been doing some good things, but let him get to 100% and maybe there will be a difference.
Yeah. And again, this is not a concern in the sense of a major injury that's going to keep him out for weeks or even, multiple games at this point, but it is something of note, especially now when we want the Leafs want their winning streak to continue going, but it's going to be interesting to see. They've been playing phenomenal without him, and The only moderately concerning thing is the fact that it's connected to what he was dealing with in training camp, so it's something that's lingering, but I think he will ultimately be fine. So hopefully the Leafs can continue playing well in his absence, because at this point, again, there's a lot of people on the IR now. Auston Matthews still, and then of course Max Pacioretty, we mentioned earlier, if you didn't check our video out, he'll be out for a few weeks. So they're dealing with a lot of injuries here, and I think the thing is the next man up kind of mentality, and you have so many guys in the woodwork, so that's Connor Dewar, whether that's Calle Jarnkrok, who, another update on him. Let's dive into that now. Brad Living said Calle Jarnkrok had a setback in his recovery and is headed to New York to see a specialist. So this is also pretty notable because we had a video on it about a week ago, how he had a setback, and then he had another setback, and now he's headed to New York. So it doesn't seem like Calle Jarnkrok is going to return anytime soon. He's going to be put on the LTIR in all likelihood, and at this point, it's pretty rough for Cal, but I mean, the Leafs have a lot of other guys that are doing what he can do fairly well, and I think they're going to be fine without him, but you would love to see him come back and just continue to make the next man up work for their spot on the team.
This is a guy who's going to be on the LTIR. This does not sound particularly good to me, and it seems like it's a new thing as well. Brad Living said that this not flared up, but this came up over the weekend. Whatever he's dealing with, there was a setback this weekend. So doesn't seem good to me. He's going to go to a specialist, and then from there, he's probably going to have to try a couple things to, see how that's reacting. So I would not expect Calle Jarnkrok to be back in the lineup anytime soon. And a lot of people are going to be quick to just be like, Robot Island and all that stuff. But he's a really good player. Like, he could really help the Leafs, and he doesn't make that much. So, all of that aside as well, he's a good player, and I hope that he can play in the NHL again, because this is unfortunate. It kind of went from nothing to something this big all of a sudden, right? At least in our eyes. We don't know what's happening too much behind the scenes, especially in preseason there. But hopefully he can play again. I think he's been good for the Leafs, but for the time being, this looks like it could be really long-term with some of the language they're using.
Yeah, which, again, is not ideal. Not something we expected in training camp. Maybe he was going to be ready for opening night, and then it came out that he wasn't, and then he had a setback, and now he had another setback. And when you hear the verbiage heading to see a specialist, that usually means that they're going to be out for quite the foreseeable future. But before we do wrap up, a couple quotes I want to go over here. And this is Craig Berube speaking out on the Max Pacioretty, I guess, his absence, because again, he's going to be put on the LTIR if you didn't check out our video from earlier. But he said it's definitely a big loss. He was playing really well for us, showcasing that power forward style with physicality, puck control in the offensive zone, and goal scoring ability. It's unfortunate for both him and the team. I feel for him, especially with the injuries he's dealt with. I know he'll push through and come back. So there is some very good things, some very big praise from the coach here in, of course, Craig Berube. So it's interesting, a big loss for the team, and ultimately, I think at this point, I'm excited to see how everybody else steps up. But I think once Max Pacioretty comes back in a couple weeks' time, especially with the big break in games, they'll be all fine. But it is definitely unfortunate, especially given how well he's been playing.
Yeah, lots of praise, because he's been playing really well, and he's bringing something that the Leafs management and coaching staff asked him to bring, right? We know you're not Max Pacioretty at 23 years old, and you're not the scorer you used to be, even though he can still score, and he's putting up, he has 6 points already on the year. Like, he's been one of the better players, or depth players, and obviously, playing on that second line that's been really good right now. So he's been really good for the Toronto Maple Leafs so far, and I hope that he comes back soon and he recovers well from it. And I don't think he's going to be, I keep seeing a lot of stuff about him being held out till playoffs or something like that. I think that's absurd. He's been one of the best players on the Leafs this year, and he continues to bring that physical style, and he's doing it well.
Yeah, and let him continue to, rest, get healthy, and quite frankly, they're going to bring him back as soon as he is ready. They're not going to, cater in the sense of wait for months just to make sure that he is 1,000% good. It's not something Max Pacioretty wants to do. He was feeling the best he's felt in, years. So, and he's playing really well. The Leafs are trying to win. So that's what it comes down to. But let us know down below what your thoughts are in the comment section on all of this news. And again, we'll have a video for you tomorrow and a post-game stream. So make sure you stay tuned for that. See you guys later.